The paradox of progress: how Black women entrepreneurs are redefining success against all odds. Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to stand before you today to share profound insights that have fundamentally shifted my understanding of entrepreneurship, race, and gender in America. These revelations came to me through my transformative conversation with Tasha Cook on the Soft Girl Era podcast, a visionary who has dedicated her life to illuminating the path for Black women entrepreneurs while confronting the systemic barriers they face head on. Tasha isn't just a business strategist, she's a revolutionary force who has personally mentored over 500 Black women on their entrepreneurial journeys. Her work has directly contributed to the creation of businesses that have generated more than $50 million in revenue within historically underserved communities. But beyond these impressive numbers lies her true genius, her ability to see patterns of inequity that others miss and to articulate solutions with such clarity that they become impossible to ignore. I want to begin with something that might shock you. Black women are currently the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States. This fact alone might lead you to believe we're witnessing an unprecedented era of economic empowerment and equality. But here's where the story takes a troubling turn, one that challenges everything we think we know about progress. Despite this entrepreneurial surge, recent data shows Black women lost 106,000 jobs in April 2025 alone. Their unemployment rate jumped to 6.1%, nearly double that of white women at 3.3%. This stark contrast reveals a disturbing truth. Black women entrepreneurs are simultaneously breaking barriers in business ownership while facing disproportionate economic vulnerability. This isn't just a statistical anomaly. It's a profound paradox that challenges the comfortable narrative that increased entrepreneurship automatically translates to economic security for Black women. The reality is far more complex, far more troubling, and demands our immediate attention. As Tasha eloquently put it during our interview, we're building businesses with one hand while the ground beneath us keeps shifting with the other. That's not just multitasking, that's magic in the face of systemic obstacles. Let me share three key insights from my conversation with Tasha that help us understand this phenomenon better. First, the rise of Black women entrepreneurs represents an extraordinary demonstration of resilience in the face of adversity. Women's startup activity has risen from 6.1% to 10.4% over the last 2 decades. This growth isn't happening in ideal conditions, it's flourishing despite significant barriers. Black women are creating businesses not just as a path to wealth, but often as a necessary alternative to workplaces where they face discrimination, undervaluation, and limited advancement opportunities. As Tasha shared, sometimes entrepreneurship isn't just a choice, it's the only viable path to creating the value and recognition we deserve. We're not just building businesses, we're building sanctuaries from systems that weren't designed with us in mind. The second insight centers on what I call the capital access gap, a chasm so wide it threatens to swallow even the most promising ventures. Women led businesses receive only 7% of global venture capital. In low and middle income countries, they are 30% less likely to secure funding than their male counterparts. When they do receive funding, the amounts are significantly smaller, with women led businesses receiving a median of $105,000 compared to $204,000 for businesses overall. For Black women specifically, these numbers become even more disheartening. Less than 1% of venture capital goes to Black women founders. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a structural barrier that prevents scaling, growth, and long term sustainability. The third insight Tasha emphasized was the dual burden reality. Black women entrepreneurs must navigate both racial and gender discrimination while balancing personal and professional responsibilities. This dual burden often forces them to prioritize family over business growth, creating additional obstacles to scaling their businesses. We're expected to show up as perfect entrepreneurs, perfect mothers, perfect partners, perfect community members, Tasha noted. The grace afforded to others when they prioritize business over everything else isn't extended to us. We're judged more harshly for the same choices. Understanding this reality is crucial for developing effective support systems. It's not enough to offer the same resources to everyone and expect equal outcomes. The playing field isn't level, and our solutions shouldn't pretend it is. Let me share three powerful stories that illustrate both the challenges and the promising solutions emerging in this space. In 2021, I witnessed the launch of Goldman Sachs' 1 Million Black Women Initiative. The statistics had been troubling for years. Black women entrepreneurs were systematically being denied access to capital, with traditional lending institutions overlooking their businesses despite proven growth potential. The initiative committed $10 billion in investment capital and $100 million in philanthropic support specifically to address the dual gender and racial biases Black women entrepreneurs face. This wasn't just about money, it was about recognition of a fundamental injustice in our financial systems. By early 2025, the program had transformed the lives and businesses of over 250,000 Black women entrepreneurs. These women secured an average of 30% more funding than they would have otherwise obtained. But the impact extends far beyond individual businesses. The program has created approximately 50,000 new jobs and has seen a 40% business survival rate among participants, significantly higher than the national average. I spoke with Jayla, one of the program participants who had been rejected by 17 different banks before connecting with this initiative. For the first time, she told me, someone looked at my business plan rather than my skin color or gender. That shouldn't be revolutionary in 2025, but it was. Similarly powerful is the story of the Business Council for Peace's Women Led Business Support Program. When traditional business support programs consistently fail to address the specific needs of women entrepreneurs, particularly those from minority backgrounds, BPs stepped in to fill the gap. They recognized that women entrepreneurs face significant socioeconomic and cultural barriers, with only 22% of SMEs in the United States being women owned. For Black women entrepreneurs, these barriers are compounded by both gender and racial bias. Their approach was revolutionary in its simplicity. They provided tailored mentorship, networking opportunities, and financial guidance specifically designed to address these unique challenges. The results speak volumes. In 2023, women led businesses in BPC's portfolio secured 55% of the total investment raised among program participants. One participant, Michelle, told me, before joining this program, I was constantly told my business wasn't scalable enough for investment. What they really meant was that they couldn't see the value in a business created by someone who looked like me, serving communities that looked like mine. The third story that moved me deeply involves community development financial institutions, CDFIs, that have created specialized lending programs targeting Black women entrepreneurs. These institutions recognize that traditional metrics like credit scores and collateral requirements systematically disadvantage Black women entrepreneurs. Instead, they developed alternative lending criteria focused on business viability and community impact. The results have been remarkable. These specialized lending programs have increased capital access for Black women entrepreneurs by approximately 35% in participating communities. By May 2025, participating CDFIs had distributed over $150 million in loans specifically to Black women owned businesses with default rates comparable to or lower than traditional small business loans. This directly challenges the myth that lending to Black women entrepreneurs represents a higher risk. What these stories reveal is both troubling and hopeful. The troubling part is that we need specialized programs at all, that the regular channels of capital, mentorship, and support systematically exclude Black women entrepreneurs. The hopeful part is that when intentional efforts are made to address these gaps, Black women entrepreneurs thrive. As Tasha powerfully stated during our interview, we don't need charity, we need equity, we need the barriers removed so our natural talents, determination, and vision can flourish. The return on investment in Black women entrepreneurs isn't just financial, it's societal transformation. This brings me to an important affirmation that Tasha shared with me, one that she repeats to herself daily. My business is not just mine, it is ancestral work, future work, community work. When I succeed, I create pathways for others to follow. I believe this perspective is crucial. When we support Black women entrepreneurs, we're not just supporting individual businesses, we're supporting entire communities, families, and future generations. The ripple effects extend far beyond profit margins. There's a scripture that Tasha mentioned resonates deeply with her work. To whom much is given, much will be required. She interprets this as a reminder that as Black women entrepreneurs gain success, they have both the opportunity and responsibility to create space for others. So, where do we go from here? How do we move from awareness to action? I stand before you today not just to illuminate a problem, but to ignite a movement. The paradox of Black women's entrepreneurial success amid systematic exclusion isn't just their problem to solve, it's our collective responsibility to address. If you're an investor, I challenge you to examine your portfolio. What percentage of your investments go to Black women founders? If it's less than 7%, you're perpetuating the problem. If you're a business leader, look at your supplier diversity. Are you actively seeking out and supporting Black women owned businesses? For educational institutions and incubators, are your programs designed with the unique challenges of Black women entrepreneurs in mind? Or are you offering one size fits all solutions that maintain existing inequities? And for everyone in this room, I ask you to consider, how are you using your privilege, your platform, and your purchasing power to create a more equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem? The brilliance of Black women entrepreneurs isn't a feel good story of triumph over adversity. It's a damning indictment of systems that create unnecessary barriers to their success. Their achievements aren't despite the odds, they're despite the intentional obstacles we've placed in their path. Imagine what would be possible if we removed those obstacles. Imagine the innovations, the jobs created, the communities transformed if Black women entrepreneurs had equal access to capital, mentorship, and support. That's not just good for Black women, it's good for our entire economy and society. As Tasha reminds us, in the soft girl era, we're redefining what strength looks like. It's not about pushing through barriers alone until we break. It's about collective power that dismantles those barriers so no one has to break themselves against them again. The time for studies and sympathetic nods has passed. The time for transformative action is now. Will you join us?